Alright, good afternoon everyone. Today is Tuesday, July 17th, 2012. And we're going to go through all the trades we took in the live trading room this morning. The results and all that. Before I start in with that, let me just say, if you have not taken a free trial with us, you should go to www.cfrn.net/apply. Sign up for the free trial, no credit card required. With the free trial, you get all of our indicators, you get the charting platform, and 2 hours per day in our live trading room for 5 business days. You get all that stuff for free, no credit card required. All you have to do is sign up. Alright, results. The ES, I ended up flat on the ES this morning. ES flat. The NQ, plus 9 ticks. The YM, plus 2 ticks. And the crude, I was up on the crude at the end of the morning session, but I got up even farther during the break. I'm up 28 ticks now on the crude. Alright, so let me just go through the, okay, Mike. Let me just go through the setups quickly here, and I'll show you what I did during the break, and then, some of it was just a few minutes ago, and then you guys can see it all. Alright, I'll just go through them all really quickly. There was a fair amount of movement today in the crude market. I didn't trade it right at the beginning when everything else was going on because I was honestly really busy looking at everything else. But right here, what we look for in the crude markets, and all these markets on the 4-tick range charts, we look for the MA1 to cross down below the BBC, then the BBC to test the MA1, and then price to move back in the direction of the cycle. We look for divergence down here when all that is happening. All right. So step 1, cross down below. Step 2, price pulls back up looking for some area of resistance. The BBC, which is the green line here, bull bear cross line, that provides it. Step 4, look down here, make sure you have divergence between the green line and the cycle. You want the cycle to be oversold, the cycle portion of the slingshot to be oversold, and the green line to be moving against it. That's what happened here. There was a short opportunity there, and there, and there, and there, and scrolling over here. Right here was the next one. Okay, right there. Let me just point this out. Right in there, there were a couple. Right in there. And there. And again over here. Now on all these instances, you see the MA1 is crossed down below the BBC, and price pulled back up, tested the BBC, then had a down close, and you have some bearish divergence, okay? So down it goes. Alright, we lost our divergence in here, we got bullish divergence in here, we didn't get the closes in the right direction. Right here we had some bearish divergence, right in there. Okay, when all this was going on right here, you see I didn't take any of these trades, I didn't take a single trade on crude until way over here. But when all this was going on in the crude, I was busy trading other markets, so I wasn't so focused on the crude market this morning. Okay, the other markets were, well, there was a lot to be seen in the other markets. Right here we had bullish divergence, tested the BBC with an up close. Over here the cycle is moving down too far against you. Right here there's a little bit of bullish divergence, tested the BBC with an up close. This was the first trade I actually took, was right here. We tested the BBC, got an up close, and it moved up. So I took some profit on that one. No, there was bullish divergence in here, but the cycle portion was moving down against it. There was an argument to take this, but it was so small right here, right in the middle. Over here, it didn't actually hit the BBC. This was at the end of the morning session. It didn't actually hit the BBC, but we had the big bearish divergence right here. And if you look at this, the cycle portion was red. The MA1 stayed red. There was a lot of reason for that to keep going down. Okay. Over here during the break, these are the trades that I took during the break. Right here, everything was moving up. It tested the BBC, went and it moved up. Everything else was moving up at the same time right here. Okay. There was an opportunity right here to take a short during the break. I didn't take that. And right here, I took this one while Dwayne was talking. We were long right in here. Okay. That was our morning session on the crude. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 opportunities in the 2 hours, and pretty easily could have taken away some money in those opportunities. All right. I'm going to slide the crude to the side. We're up 28 ticks on the crude. All right. Let me see. I think put the question thing up here. Just want to make sure. Alright, that's not a question for me, that's a question for Dwayne. Alright, on the NQ, we only took one trade on the NQ and we ended plus 9 ticks on it. The NQ had a few trades set up in here. I mean, it's all the same setup as we just looked at on the crude. Okay? So if you understood that setup on the crude, then you'll understand everything over here on the NQ. Let's see, 9:30 we had bullish divergence, test to the BBC with an up close. So right in here, there were a couple of opportunities to get long. There was one opportunity to get short. Then it got really choppy in here, going sideways. I wasn't paying all that much attention to this one either. I was really watching the ES this morning, okay, because I had trades on. Right there, we tested the BBC with a down close with the bearish divergence down here. It's all the same stuff that we just did on the crude, okay? It went back and forth in here a little bit. We didn't have divergence in the right place. The MA1 was on the wrong side. A couple things going on there. Right here, the cycle was moving up too fast, or too much, against the direction of the trade, so we didn't look to get long, or short, sorry. Over here, finally, we had some pretty good stuff, but the cycle's moving down, so we didn't look to get long on that one. Right in here at 10:30, this is when there were a couple of opportunities. Right here, tested the BBC with a down close on both of those. All right, I didn't take a trade until way over here is when I finally took a trade. But you can see we had bullish cross here, tested the BBC with an up close, and we had bullish divergence right there. Okay. Same thing right here. We tested the BBC, gave an up close, we had bullish divergence. Now this trade, if we had to grade the trades, this would be an A grade trade because everything stayed blue. The MA1 stayed blue, the cycle stayed blue, everything was blue on that. It was followed up by a second one right here. I took 9 ticks out of this one, and it was followed up by a second one right here that went up, I don't know, about 6 or 8 ticks. And then this was during the break right in here. See, the cycle's going down too hard right there. There was just nothing in there in that move that we could have taken. All right, and that was the NQ. Now let's cover the YM. Cover the YM here. Okay, I'll show you a couple things that happened, a couple things that didn't happen. Let me scroll back. I think I took one trade on the YM right here, and I took a little profit on it. I got a couple ticks profit out of that. All right, but the YM got very choppy when it got to its zone. Today, the YM was actually leading the ES on the way down, as far as getting through the zones and stuff like that. Okay, we had a bearish cross here. This was pretty early on. We had a bearish cross, tested the BBC with a down close, came back up, did it again, tested the BBC, closed down, and again. So all three of these right here, you could have been done right there by 9:51. We stuck it out, and we didn't take any more trades in here as the thing dropped down into the weekly trading zone. Then it went really sideways in the zone, and it started to come out. When it started to come out right here, we had bullish divergence down here. We had a bullish cross. The BBC was coming out of the zone. It looked like it was really going to move up from there. We were a little early on it, on the overall move up. If you look at the time, that was 10:24. We got long right there. We took some profit right there. Okay, then it dropped down significantly, down to this level down here. And that's when it started moving up again. There was another opportunity right here for a long. You see this bullish divergence down here between the green and the cycle. Okay, and then it started to move up pretty strong, right back up into the weekly trading zone. And now we're in the break period, and we didn't have any opportunities in that period right there. Okay, that was on the YM. Now, there's a couple things worth noting here on the 1500 contract YM. Okay, One is that we had this big bearish divergence right here, and price came up and just touched the BBC, and it dropped. Completely dropped right after that. All right, that was significant. And in this spot right here where it came up and it was testing the BBC and going sideways, I had put this line in here, this 12,610. I actually had an order on there to sell. It was a sell stop. What I figured is if the BBC is gonna hold and it's gonna drop out of the BBC, then down here, if it triggers us in, we would be in for the ride all the way down here to the weekly trading zone. That would have been a 45 tick gain had it happened, but it didn't happen. It just kept going up. So now I would anticipate it pulling back here to the BBC at some point. The BBC right now is at 672, but it's not going to be there forever. All right, and that was that. Now let me cover the ES. Okay, the ES opened up with a big gap up. Okay, the close yesterday was down here. The open today was up here somewhere. It was right up here. The open today was up here. So it was 54 down to 47. Had a pretty good gap up. And it went right up into the weekly trading zone. Now, we had a person this morning in the live trading room, one of the folks on the trial this morning, was asking why wouldn't just sell the zone up here? Why didn't we just sell 56? Well, you can do that. There's ways to do that. And if you become a partner, well, come to the partners meeting and we'll cover that. Or you can see where we did cover it actually in past partners meetings. But anyway, there was a way to sell the zone right here, and I said once it started to move down off that zone, I was looking at the crude, and I showed on the crude this morning a level that if it broke through that level, it was probably gonna have a significant reversal, and it went down to that level. Let me bring the chart over, and I'll show you where it was. It was 88.94, I think, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was. It was right here, 88.94. This level right here. I had told everybody before this happened, when this trade right here was setting up, I had said, okay, it's probably going to go down right now. It's probably going to drop down to 88.94. And then it did. And then I said, if that level gets broken, and this was at 9:43, I said, if that level gets broken, we're probably going to see a significant reversal here on all the markets. And that level did get broken, and we did see a significant reversal. It dropped from 88.94 all the way down to, well, 100. Let's just call it 87.44. Okay. What is that? 106, 150 ticks, even more than that. 150 ticks. That's $1,500 per contract on the crude. For what it's worth, it was just another very nice long trade right here. There's the bullish divergence, bullish cross, test of the BBC, up close, right there. That's a thing of beauty. Anyway, when all that was happening, we were approaching the weekly trading zone up here. Actually, we were bouncing off the weekly trading zone, and I said, if that does happen, then I don't think this is going to hold, and we're going to get a significant move down on the ES, and we did. And when we got this bearish cross right here, the setup on the ES 10,000 contract is to sell a pullback up to the BBC. So I did that. I sold a pullback to the BBC, and it was very quick. It made 2 points very quickly. It actually made more than 2 points. And then I put a stop on it plus 2 points, and it took me out there. You can see it went 7 points. This move from here, from our entry down to here, was 7 points. Then it pulled back up here, and we shorted it again. There was just 2 points between our entry. We shorted at 47. We were looking for it to get down to 45. There was just 2 points between there and there. We shorted it here, and then it went a point in our favor, and then it came back up. I had moved my stop to break even after it went a point in our favor. Wait a minute, did I? No, I did move my stop to break even after it went a point in our favor, and then eventually, if you stuck it out, it eventually went down to the 2-point profit target. It eventually went the full 9 points. Okay. Then it pulled back up over here, and this one we shorted it again on the pullback up here, and that one went 1 point. Okay. From there, it just kept going up. Right in here, it pulled back down, tested the BBC right here. We had bullish divergence. When you get the divergence, what you anticipate happening is the green line is going to work its way into the cycle. That's what you anticipate happening. Okay, the green line is always going to work its way into the cycle, or the cycle is going to work its way to the green line. Eventually they're going to meet. What you want to have happen is the cycle is going to go, is the green line go to the cycle. Okay, that's what you want to see happen. Alright, so that was it. We didn't take this trade. It was during the break, and it was right inside the weekly trading zone. Okay, I don't trade inside the zones. Obviously, it went zone to zone again. So we went from this zone to this zone, through it a little bit, then from this zone back up to this zone. So we've had a lot of opportunity today, a lot of movement, and now we'll see. We'll see what's going on here. Okay. All right. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. If anybody is on a free trial right now. Hey, Robin. If anybody is on a free trial right now, you should have an email in your mailbox with an offer from us in your email. Check it out. If you don't and you want to know what it takes to become a partner, send an email to support@cfrn.net. Okay? And with that, I'm going to wrap up the recording right now.